Hey, it's Russ from the Infectious Groove Podcast and Vinyl Channel. Coming up today, I'm going to talk about another rare Prince original pressing. Talking about Diamonds and Pearls, coming right up. Alright, so if this is your first time on the channel, then you probably haven't seen me cover some rare Prince vinyl before. If you are returning, then you know we talked about the Gold Experience in the past, and I do have more Prince videos planned in the future. If this is your first time on the channel, I hope today is the day that I earn your subscription. If you are a longtime subscriber, thank you, and thank you for watching this one. Today I'm going to feature an album that's what I would call rare for now. At the time of the shooting of this video, an original pressing of Diamonds and Pearls is pretty hard to find. For whatever reason, this is one of those records that was pressed on vinyl overseas back in the early 90s. To my knowledge, it never received US pressing and was never reissued while Prince was alive. Now, I say that this is rare for now as the time of the shooting of this video because the Prince estate has very much been reissuing a lot of his records on vinyl and issuing a whole lot of records that were never on vinyl in the first place since he passed. And I don't see there being an issue with this record getting re-released on vinyl sometime in the near future. If you watch my Gold Experience video, then you know that there are legal issues that may prevent the Gold Experience from being reissued on vinyl, and probably why it hasn't been reissued just yet. Hopefully that gets resolved, and eventually we do see a reissue of the Gold Experience on vinyl. But with Diamonds and Pearls, I really don't see there being anything holding this release back. I would be surprised if later this year, depending again on the release time of this video, between the time this is shot and released onto YouTube, there might actually be some sort of announcement. But I would be shocked if this doesn't get a reissue soon. And furthermore, I've even heard rumors that this might be in the pipeline for one of those Super Deluxe Edition box sets. I haven't featured those on the channel just yet, but I do own the Super Deluxe box set for $19.99 and Sign of the Times, and I will be featuring those in the future. Absolutely fantastic box sets, and I would love to see more of this era get released in that fashion. So, as far as Diamonds and Pearls goes, as far as a Prince record goes, this for me was one of the most underrated Prince albums that there was for quite some time. He was coming off just an incredible run of fan favorites and albums that made people fans of Prince. And a lot of people's minds instantly go to Purple Rain as far as like the album that made people a fan. But I feel like 1999 was that way. Purple Rain certainly pushed him into the mainstream. But I know a lot of people who the first time that they really got into Prince was through Parade or Around the World in a Day or even the Love Sexy album. Some people came to Prince through the Batman soundtrack. And I know a whole lot of people that came to Prince through the Sign of the Times record. A whole lot of people who got into Prince through that Sign of the Times album. For this one, this is really a record that it was kind of like if you were already a Prince fan, then you dug it. If you had just gotten into him through something else, this wasn't close enough to anything that he'd done before. So although it had some monster hits, Get Off, Cream, and the title track, Diamonds and Pearls, all did really well at radio, it didn't really set the world on fire sales-wise. Now, in this album's defense, it was released in October of 1991. 1991 was a monster year for music. Off the top of my head, Ozzy's No More Tears, Pearl Jam 10, of course Nirvana Nevermind, GNR Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, Metallica The Black Album. I'm certain I'm missing a ton of others, but it was a monster year for releases, and Diamonds and Pearls was kind of bringing up the rear as far as being released right before Christmas in October of 91. So I don't want to say that this is some sort of underrated record or that it's some sort of underdog, but in the full scope of things, a Prince release in any other year, I believe, would have been a much, much bigger deal than Diamonds and Pearls was at the time of release because of everything else that was going on in music and the monster records that came out that year. The other thing that I hear, and hopefully I'm not going to upset a lot of Prince fans here, but I hear a lot of Prince fans saying that really this album is only good for the singles. That, you know, really the brilliance is in Get Off, Cream, and Diamonds and Pearls. And I couldn't disagree more. Now, there are songs on this record that I think would universally appeal to any Prince fan that maybe a lot of Prince fans haven't really even listened deeply to. Like, there's a cut called Strollin' that is a jazzy swing kind of feel that I think deserves a lot more credit. Money Don't Matter Tonight is also like a jazzy feel. If you're a fan of the Morning Papers, off of the Prince and the New Power Generation album, kind of in that vein. Certainly a jazzy swing feel to the song. Now, Money Don't Matter Tonight was released as a single, but I don't believe it charted. It was the last single off the record, and I think that deserves a lot more credit. The record kicks off with Thunder and Daddy Pop before it goes calms down and goes into the title track, the ballad Diamonds and Pearls. But there are things on here that I have seen Prince fans just flat out pan and say, oh, I can't even believe that made a record, or that ruins the album for me. For me, the two most, I guess, for lack of a better term, controversial tracks on this record are Walk Don't Walk and The Jughead. I have loved both of those tracks since I first got this album back in 1991. There's a lot of opinions in the community over either Prince or his entourage, and I see this term thrown around a lot, trying to rap. A lot of people say, you know, well, hey, Prince was trying to jump on the bandwagon of rap being so hot at the time, gangster rap and whatnot. I don't mind it. Does it sound dated? Sure. You know, when you put on a track like Jughead and all the rapping that's going on in that track, it definitely sounds dated. But, you know, if you're going to throw stones at this album for sounding dated, then a lot of the pre-Purple Rain material, due to the synths and the drum machines and whatnot, definitely sound dated. I'm not comparing a track like Jughead to, say, anything that's on 1999. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like that there are certain points in Prince's career that sound dated, and I don't feel like that's a reason to completely disregard a track like Jughead. And then Walk Don't Walk is another one that really gets a lot of hate that I've seen in the Prince community, social media forums and that type of thing. And Walk Don't Walk, maybe for me, I just like when Prince goes into that sort of reggae feel. Like Blue Light on the Prince and the New Power Generation album, The Love Symbol, is one of my favorite Prince cuts. So for me, that Walk Don't Walk kind of has that Caribbean, Jamaican type feel to it, and so I love that track. And then, of course, around all of those are some stunningly good Prince singles. Get Off and Cream, I would say, set the table for a lot of what Prince was going to do later in the 90s. I think it's two of his all-time best singles, and say a lot about him as an artist. There was a time, really from, I want to say, like 81 to 91, where a lot of artists really made their name on pushing the limits and seeing what they could get away with, and Prince was at the forefront of it. Prince definitely is the type of artist that could was seeing what he could get away with. But I feel like Get Off and Cream make a case for, you can make really good art that pushes the limits. These weren't songs that were pushing the limits just to push the limits, at least in my opinion. As evidenced later on by he would do one or both acoustic now and again, and they both had just as good of a flair to the songs as they did with all the production and the dance beats and everything that's on the record. As far as the actual pressing goes, I really don't have any sort of complaints with this. Some standard stuff going on that I'll put up on the screen for you. Paper inner sleeves with the lyrics printed on them and a couple of pictures scattered about here and there. As far as the LPs go, very, very standard fare. Your Warner Brothers Paisley Park logo. Not a lot to speak of, nothing real fancy. Very, 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 very average for the time. 120 gram plates, just fine. I happen to score a very, very, very clean and quiet pressing of this record, so I'm quite pleased with that myself. I don't know what the aftermarket is like as far as scoring copies of the record that are in great condition and sound quiet. I do know that it continues to rise. Especially, unfortunately, since we lost Prince. But, again, I can't stress enough, I really believe this is a record that's going to get a reissue much sooner than later, if not a super deluxe edition. But as far as the vinyl pressing of it goes, fantastic dynamics, great sound. I really don't think they need to do too much to it to bring us a new version of it. But if you were in the market for a used one and you want to get an original pressing, certainly no complaints as far as sound goes. And the inners are what to expect from a Warner Brothers record in the early 90s. So that is, as always, some background on the record itself and a little bit on my thoughts on the album. Prince Diamonds and Pearls has been the focus of today's video. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if this is your first time stopping by, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. If nothing else, please drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think of this album. Am I crazy for liking Walk Don't Walk and The Jughead? Did I leave something off of here that definitely should have been pointed out? Or is it possible that you want nothing to do with even the singles on this record? The title track, Get Off, Cream. Or is this one of your favorite Prince records? Either way, we're always happy to get as much discussion about music going as possible. Drop me that comment below, and thank you so much for watching.